baby. Whoa, what a win for the Warriors over the Titans over the weekend. Oh, I was looking forward to this game. I knew that we were going to just do what we do, and it gives us also that 2 points gives us a 6 point buffer of over the Broncos because of their loss to Parramatta on the weekend. Well, that's what I thought I was going to say. Come this episode, because I really had a lot of faith that we were going to do the job, but obviously not to be. And and this is not me just taking the piss out of the Warriors, because I love the Warriors. Okay, just know that I love the Warriors. But it was very, very, very disappointing performance, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way, because I'm seeing this all over social media as well. So. But anyway, before we get into it, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, John Lazaron, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, good mate, Richard, the bandwagon conductor, Letty. Bro, how did you find that game on the weekend? Were you like me thinking, this is a game, this is a game in the bag for us, and we're gonna win this one? Or, how did you feel about that game?
Woo, up the wires, baby. I was going to say, you're living in some alternative universe. What, have I missed out on something? Was it a bad dream or something like that?
Yes, sorry to do that to you, bro.
No, that's all good. Much the same, man. Just was pretty. I was pretty confident going into the game. Obviously, we hadn't been super convincing against the Knights, and then there was a bit of chatter about our record against the Titans, and I don't even know if we'd sort of talked about it on the show last week. I don't even know if I'd sort of realised how bad it was, but I had some memories of, we did allude to those 2 games last year, and I alluded to a game that I went to at Mount Smart a couple of years ago. The Titans got up, so weirdly, a bit of a bogey team for us, it seems. I think now they've won 5 of the last 6, could even be 6 of the last 7. So a little bit concerning there. First 10 minutes was, I was thinking, bang, we're on here. We could put 50 on them. I genuinely, in my head, was thinking, we're playing well. I think Leka crashed over about the 8th or 9th minute, so we were up 10-0 after, before even 10 minutes was up in the game. So I was up and about, had some family around watching the game, and I swear to God, every time they come around and watch the game, it just goes downhill quicker. So I've learned to sort of control my emotions when the in-laws are around. It all went downhill from there, and the rest is history. You watched that game as closely as I did, John. It was pretty heartbreaking, and we just kind of never looked like getting back into it really, and the whole sort of remaining. As soon as the Titans got a couple of tries, and that whole rest of that first half and second half, we just looked flat, and worrying. The fact that it's backed up from, it's not really a one-off performance. The Knights game was far from our best, so we're going to need to play a little bit better than that. We talked last week about finals football coming up, and they're going to get knocked out in 2 games or 1 game if they lose their spot in top 4 if they keep playing like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you're right about the whole Titans being our bogey team, because I just looked it up now. From round 20. Sorry, not round. The year 2021, we lost 44-0 to them. In 2022, we played them twice.
Was that 44-0 the game with like Matt Lodge and what's his name, Kane Evans?
Oh, probably.
Do you remember when he had that thing written on? He had that thing written on his wrists, and
fold some beep, fold some beep.
It was that was one of the most bizarre games of league I've ever watched. It was one of the greats, and we lost 44-0.
Yeah. Nah, definitely some high scores here. So round 2 of 2022, we lost 2018. The same year, round 25, we lost 27-26, so that was a close one.
Yeah, that's what I was at.
2023, we only played them once, but we won 28-18. 2024, so last year, we played them in round 8. They won 27-24. Then there was that really heartbreaking game in round 16 of last year where we lost 66-6. So, and obviously this year, the game we just played now, 24-16, we lost to them. And look, I don't want to take anything away from the Titans, because they actually turned up. They actually played really well. You got to give credit to them. Kieran Foran in his probably last game on New Zealand soil, he was immense. He was awesome. You wouldn't think that he was a player that's on the verge of retiring. He's already announced his retirement. He's finishing this year, at the end of this year, and no, he was great. And far out. It was just Yeah, Jaden Campbell as well. Yeah, the halves pairing were
He's
good.
amazing.
Yeah, yep. No, I totally agree. That they were good. I mean, like you said, the first 10 minutes we were on fire. We looked good. The forwards, running it up. I mean, the forwards are, they were pretty good throughout the whole game. To an extent, throughout the whole game, our backs didn't really fire at all on attack or defense. Maybe you give Roger a pass because he was doing all he could with what he got. But yeah, no, they after that 10 minutes, and they scored pretty much two consecutive tries straight after our two consecutive tries, and then it was all Titans from there, and
Yeah.
it was all Titans from there. So you got to give them credit there, but at the same time, it still was a piss poor performance by the Warriors. I mean, you can't hide that fact. I mean, we're all diehard Warriors fans here. You and I, there are many out there, they were defending the Warriors and stuff. There was a lot of them attacking the Warriors as well, as you see on social media. But if you want to be, realistic about everything, that was a piss poor performance by the Warriors. Defense was not on. We were giving away too many six agains, too many penalties, etc. You can't really blame the ref for everything on this one. We were just bad, and not to the level that you expect for a top 4 team to be playing right. You know what I mean? On the odd occasion, you might drop a game or just have a game where nothing goes right. Look at the Panthers at the start of the season. Nothing was going right for them, but then all of a sudden things are they've what 6 or 7 in a row now. So and by the way, I just think they're the next threat because they're only 3 points behind us on the ladder. They've overlapped the Broncos on the ladder. But anyway, that's just another thing to say. But yeah, it was a poor performance all around. We'll get into that. We'll get into that right now. Okay, so look, on the top of your head, Richard, off the top of your head, Richard, where did everything go wrong in this game for the Warriors after that 10 minutes? After that first 10 minutes.
Yeah, bro. You kind of alluded to a few things earlier. I think just how do we look through some of the stats and it kind of they speak for themselves. And I think Webster said at the end of the game, we're beaten by the better team. And the stats certainly said that Titans lead in runs, run meters, post contact, line breaks, tackle breaks, offloads, kicks, kicking meters. They had to do less tackles and they had
Yeah.
less misses. I think it was about 26 to 21. So there you go, 26 missed tackles doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It was 11 errors to 6, so we had 11 errors. We conceded. It was the penalty count was 6-4, so we were down on the penalty count. 6 agains was 6-3. So just discipline, and we were just sort of played after that first 10 minutes. We were just played off the park. There's plenty of questions about sort of the lack of creativity. I think one stat I found quite interesting was the kicking stats, and we had 7 bombs and 0 grubbers, and I just think, the bombs sort of, I suppose, traditionally have been working for us this season, but every now and then, you got to be sort of mixing it up a little bit. I think the Titans were, they were about six bombs to 4 grubbers, so they were trying a few things, but we weren't. I think we only forced one drop. We only forced one drop out, so we weren't sort of putting that pressure on the Titans.
Yeah.
And then they were sort of when they, and you think about the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, we were doing all right, we were charging our way out the field and getting ourselves some pretty good field position, but then just silly errors. Obviously, there was the Harris Tavita play the ball, which I don't know.
The ball punt.
Yeah, I've
Ball
watched
punt, yeah.
I've watched the replay a few times. It's frustrating. I know it's the rule, but that I can't remember who the Titans player was. Maybe Bo Fulmer.
Yeah.
He was
Push,
all over him.
push.
He
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so you just sort of like there has to be some common. You wonder whether there has to be some common sense with the bunker there. But okay, like he wasn't. He placed the ball and he probably wasn't in a position to do so. But
Yeah.
quite clearly, he had a Titans player who was just flopping all over him. And there should be a penalty there. So that
Yeah.
stuff, it doesn't help. But I just discipline wasn't up to standard. I'm sure, and we've been pretty good at that this whole season, So
Yeah.
had a look at that completion rate was about where we've been the rest of the season. I think it was a little bit down. I think we're normally sitting at about 81, 82%. I think it was at about 79%. So
Yeah.
we're still completing our sets, but just giving away too many penalties, too many 6 agains, giving them too many opportunities. and both on the right and the left hand side, our sort of edge defense, each wasn't, like Jaden Campbell sort of was making some pretty easy breaks on the right, and then that our left, and then the infamous right edge, sort of we saw Dallin jam in a couple of times and lead to another couple of tries. So I'm sure, yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what changes are made this week, man, because I said last week I can't see it happening, but after watching that performance, I do think there has to be some changes made. Like, it wasn't that I didn't think it wasn't that I didn't think there would be, but I just thought that the way the team was going, they wouldn't do it. But I think they're at a point now where, like, I don't see
It's a
how they
breaking
can.
point, right?
You said it last week. I don't see how you can justify sort of starting Dallin again after sort of last this whole season. Like he just after he's come back from injury, he just hasn't looked his best. We know what he's capable of, but those jamming in and those sort of on defense and with Capewell as well. Like I mean, he's a second row. He's not a centre. I think we do need to get a specialist centre in that position as well. So, that's sort of in a couple of bullet points. That's where we're wrong for me, John. Was there anything else that sort of stood out for you?
Well, I mean, I like the fact that you brought up discipline because that was a big thing that stood out for me in watching this game. I brought it up last week, and I brought up Jackson Ford being a culprit of sort of all those 6 agains, etc., and giving away too many penalties. And didn't someone say something about that? Didn't someone say something about that about me? Like I wanted to fight Jackson Ford or something?
Yeah. Celebrity boxing match is Don McCarmick, our good friend Don McCarmick, has sent through a message to us just saying, is John going to be doing a celebrity boxing match against Jackson Ford for in the postseason? So
Yeah.
watch the space. Obviously you had a wee go at Dallin last week as well. So I'm wondering who's going to be on your firing line this week, John.
Well, first of all, let me just say this. I don't know. We're not celebrity. I don't know if I consider myself a celebrity. No way near. Nothing like that. Don't want to be a celebrity. Don't want to be a celebrity or anything like that. And you can back me up on this. Is that I have sung Jackson Ford's praises all year. I just said he was on that specific game. He was bad with his discipline. He did give away a lot of penalties and 6 against. That's just the fact. I'm just stating the fact. And in this game as well, he did it again. Did you notice that yourself? Did you notice that he was the culprit of giving away so many 6 against? I've seen it. A lot of people commented about it as well. Jackson Ford I
can't think of the 6 against, but yeah, I did. There was that was it a crusher on Jaden Campbell maybe? Yeah, well, pretty silly penalty close to the sticks, which put them up 12-10 from memory.
I saw the 6
probably
against.
not what we needed at the time.
Yeah, I saw the 6 against as well, and also I think what he's trying to do is actually, like the Melbourne are really good at this, where they hold the player down for as long as they can, just to the point where before the referee blows his whistles and gives away a 6 again or like a penalty. And I think he's trying to do the same thing, but he's not getting away with it because we're not Melbourne. Melbourne seem to get away with it all the time, so I think that's what he's trying to do. So like I said, I love Jackson Ford. I think he's a great player and he's been done well all season, but I think he in the last couple of games. He honestly has been the culprit of giving away a lot of penalties and 6 against, and that's just the fact of the matter here. But in terms of Dallin as well, I actually feel sorry for Dallin, to be honest, because I mean we've both talked about Dallin a lot lately, and we both love Dallin. We've stated that as well, but he is not in form right now. He's in a form slump. Is that correct? Correct. Do you agree with me there? He's in a form slump.
Oh yeah, I mean I think I think most people would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I don't think the attacking of Dallin. So this is something also we've said on the show before, is that like having with Ed Cossey, is that yes, we agree that he didn't play a good game his last game, but the attack the attacking comments that went around, that was just not on. I thought that was just pretty bad. I mean, we're all up for constructive criticism, healthy criticism, fresh criticism, however you want to call it, but I think the attacking is going a bit too far. But anyway, in regards to Dallin, and let's just talk about him just on a form point of view here, because that's all that we're trying to do here, right? I think he's definitely out of form, and I still don't understand how he keeps getting picked. And it can only be on reputation, because to a picky, for example, it's like we're repeating ourselves every week here, Richard. But he got dropped to 18th man, and he comes in, he steps up, and he does a great job. So how do you justify that? I know again we said this last week, but again, hopefully that like you said just before, hopefully this is the game where it's like okay, no, now something has to change, something has to give now. We can't play on with Webster because again, let me talk about Andrew Webster quickly. Andrew Webster's a great coach. I love Andrew Webster. I think he's the great coach of the Warriors, and I think he's the one to take us through, for many more years. But I think one little flaw is sometimes his selection policies. He seems to stick with a team that he thinks is going to go really well, and that's fine. And it's good that the players have got the backing of their coach. But when they're in a genuine form slump, the coach has to do something to ignite them to lift their game up or not, and that might mean going down to reserve grade for a couple of games just to spark the confidence. I mean, you look at the reserve. Like, we don't talk about the reserve grade team that much, but look what they're doing. They won 14 games in a row. They're gelling together. They're in sync. They're doing really well, and some of those guys must be knocking on the door of first grade. Yeah, so I mean, there's a winger in the reserve grade. I just lost. I'm just trying to figure his name again. He's doing really well. Let me
Steel
just pick it
Kelly.
up. Yeah, that's the one. See, I've had a mind blank there. He's doing really well, and there's a lot of people calling for him to make the step up, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. Why not? Why not? Webster's put a lot of trust in the youngsters like Lecker, Valmonga, Laban, Tanastoa Smith, and they've all stepped up and done the job. Tuapiki, you know. So why not?
Yep.
Why not give him a go? Because he's probably. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. Swap him with Dallin. Give Dallin some confidence in reserve grade. It's not doing him a disrespect by putting Dallin there. You can't just say, I've been playing all these, I played so many first grade games, I deserve to be there week in, week out. You can't just say that. And I'm not saying that Dallin's saying that, I'm just saying that Webster might need to make that hard decision and do that. And I think the time, I mean, people have been saying it for a while now, but I think now is the time that he's got no choice. Because, we're playing another really, top 8 team. And I think Dolphins are in the top 8 or just outside the top 8. But they're not going to be an easy team to play. They're a good team at the moment. So yeah, I really think that there needs to be some changes in this side. But in saying that about Dallin, going back to Dallin again, is that the whole jamming in thing. Yes, he did do it in this game as well, but he had no choice. There were a couple of moments where he had no choice to do it because the centre that was on his inside was unmarked. So he had no choice but to go for the centre. So it's a there you had to put the blame on the whole team because they all jammed in where it allowed an overlap, and he had no choice. He's just the final product of what you see, because when they score the try, he's the last defender that you see. So that's why I think he just got a little criticism, but it's a little bit unfair in my opinion that he gets all the criticism because. Yeah, that wasn't fully his fault. He's not all to blame for that. But I think the whole team has to put their hand up in that game because no one really fired. No one really fired. But yeah, it didn't look like we were going to break their line, mate. It was just a really, really just a poor performance, and they've really, really got to step up. And I hope Webster's not going to. He's already done it already in this post-match press conference where he said, I've got full faith in this team. He needs to stop saying that and just say make a hard decision. And I want to ask you a quick question, okay? I didn't have this in the run sheet, but I want to ask you now. I asked you earlier on in the day about if you were to put out a team for the Dolphins, who would you put out? What changes would you make for the side? Let the viewers know what you would do.
Yeah, so I can't see it happening, but I want to see Tuapiki at fullback.
Yep.
Obviously Chan's returned, but he didn't look. He still looked far from his best. I thought maybe still sort of nursing a bit of an injury. I don't know, but wasn't. He still sort of ran for 200 odd meters, but just kind of it didn't really offer much. You hardly sort of knew he was there, apart from a couple of errors that he made. And so yeah, Chuck Tain at the back, Chuck Chan's on the wing, on Dylan's wing with Rog obviously, Pompey, and I would have said Ali Latour, but
Yeah.
it sounds like he could have injured himself in New South Wales Cup game on the weekend. So if not him, I'll go with Moala Graham to Alpha.
Yeah.
Obviously we saw a bit of him a couple of years ago. I think he's had one game this year.
Yeah.
Looks to be playing some good footy in New South Wales Cup, so it'd be good to see him get a run. I will stick with Harris, Tavita and Boyd, but I'm tempted to put Tamara Martin in there, but just the fact that you know, when we saw him play six last year, he just couldn't make it work. Obviously, it was playing with Johnson, who is a lot more of a sort of dominant seven as
Yeah,
opposed to Boyd. So the gelling could be different. I think Tamara Martin looked like the only person who was sort of sparking anything on the weekend. He set up Rogers' try, and he had another nice little bit where he was tried to go the short side, and Jaden
yeah,
Campbell kind of dive and got an intercept. But if that ball got into hand, like there was something happening there. So
yeah,
he did look alright. But no, I'll stick with Harris Tavita. Go to Fish and Healy in the front row with Jackson Ford. Obviously, Egan's probably out this week. I imagine. I
yeah.
haven't seen it
Yes.
official, but he was. Yeah,
Well, he was out for
it's
HIS, so
yeah
it's
protocol.
mandatory. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then Kate Powell back to second row with Leka and Aaron
yeah,
Clark at 13, obviously. And then I'll go, put Tamara Martin on the bench with Varmoga, Neil Corey, and Tennisdale Smith. So I've got Jacob Laban being the unlucky one to miss out. I could swap him for Tennisdale Smith and I'd be happy enough. I just feel like maybe having another sort of dedicated
yeah.
middle there could help that rotation. And similarly, I'd be happy enough. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they started Nuakore and the front row and had Ford come off the bench. But that was just sort of how I wrote it down.
Yep, I like it, man. I like it. I like
That's
it,
my
and
team.
I think it's that would be really really good change. It's a side that could do some damage. But I was thinking along the same lines. I was actually thinking more about the backs more than the forwards. I think that's where we are struggling. And especially in outside backs. So I mean, I would have Tuapiki at fullback, Roger on one wing, and I would have Siokali on the other. I'd give him a go if I was if I was choosing the team. And also, I had a Pompey at one centre and Chance in one centre. And look, with Chance, I'm not trying to I think he's he's a great player and everything. And one of the things he does really well week in week out is he eats up a lot of meters, right? Gains a lot of meters, right? So the team takes a lot of hit ups, right? But you can do that at centre. You can do that on the wing. You don't have to be a fullback to be able to do what he does there. And I just think with Tuapiki, he's got more of a skill set that, with like a playmaking skill set where it actually would work out better at fullback. And if you really wanted to, if you didn't really want to throw in, if Webster didn't want to throw in Siokali on the wing, you could actually put Tuapiki back on the wing, and have Tamari Martin at fullback. You could even go down that route, that route, and
Yeah.
I think that would still work out well as well. I think you can still go down that path, and it will still work out really well. You've got all your stars starting, including Tamari Martin, who we know has got can play fullback and he's got the playmaking ability. And then you've got an extra spot on the bench to bring up, and Healy will start because he's obviously going to start because Wading won't be there. It just means who do you put in that spot to be that sort of like that utility. Who's going to be that utility. So I'm not sure who they would use at the moment. For that, but then the forwards speak for themselves for me, like the Fish, front row, Healy obviously because of Egan, Halasima, Capewell, Clark. I'm just trying to think about the starting front row. I mean, I like the fact that Valmonga comes off the bench and brings a lot of energy and a lot of intent when he comes on. I mean, would it be I don't know if starting him is the idea, not because he can't do it. I don't think it's not there. It's the thing is that his spot on the bench, he comes on, he does a lot of damage when he comes off the bench, and maybe for me, Nuakure can start at front row and Jackson Ford can go back to the bench. I'll still have Tennisdale Smith in there, and yeah, I just don't know who I'd fill in that role with a playmaker role, utility role. I don't know who I'd fill in there yet, but you have to find someone. Yeah, that's how I'd go about it. Still, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, similar-ish path.
Yeah.
But as I said, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm intrigued about this teamless Tuesday. I really am because, you feel like something does need to change.
Yeah.
But Webster's loyal, and it has sort of worked well in the past. But we're starting to sort of, coming up against the Dolphins as a team that's scored, 40 plus points in 3 of the last 5 games, 50 plus in 2 of those games.
Yeah.
So they can pile on the points, and they might be running at left, and they'll have Herbie Farmworth could be having a field day on that left edge for the Dolphins if we're not lucky, if we don't sort of shore up that our
Yeah,
right
fair
edge
enough.
defence.
I mean, to be honest, like it's. I remember I was speaking to you before we started recording. You were saying there's some positives we can find. I'm struggling to find a lot of them, and that's just being honest with you. It was just a bad lump of play throughout this whole game. After that 10 minutes, the 10 minutes was brilliant. It looked like the lookings of a big score being put on, and it wasn't to be. I mean, we go again. We support the Warriors. We love the Warriors, and we still support the. But what were there any positivities that any positives that you could find in that game that you want to share? Put you on
The
the spot
first,
there. Yeah,
the
put you on the
first,
spot there.
the first 10 minutes, great to
Yeah,
see. Good to see the boys starting well.
yeah,
Um, Leka crossing over again.
yeah,
Always good to see. He keeps that sort of that try scoring record going strong. Um, I thought the way that there wasn't much happening, but we still managed to sort of score that. Roger scored that try, and we looked like we were sort of getting our way back into it then.
yeah,
And then just unfortunately we just couldn't quite you know um, capitalise on some of the position and territory we had in the final 10-15 minutes.
yep.
Um, Roger
It's a
was
hard
good.
one, isn't it? It's a hard
Roger
one,
was
isn't it?
good. I
Yeah,
thought James Fisher-Harris had a good game.
yep,
He seems to be sort of just like real quietly, just like putting up some big numbers in the middle.
yeah.
Um, so I thought that was probably one of the better games we've seen from him in a Warriors jersey.
Hmm.
I
Well,
think as you said before, the forwards on the whole weren't that bad. I think they're all sort of like when you look through sort of like the the running meters of the forwards, like Fisher Harris at 151, um, Jackson Ford 100, 128, Lecker 94, Aaron Clark 106. Laban, Walmaga 89 off about 35 minutes. So, they were sharing the load. But there's a couple of guys there that sort of maybe, um, yeah, we'll see this week whether there's any changes made. But when you look through the stats, it's sort of there's a couple of guys there who you can sort of point out and say, oh, maybe they didn't have their greatest game. But it was a pretty rubbish sort of
yeah,
70 minutes, that's for sure.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, like you said, I mean, you just alluded to it just before this team naming coming up tomorrow and tomorrow night. I think it'll probably be one of the most anticipated team namings for Warriors fans. I think a lot of them will be glued. I think they'll be glued to this to 6 p.m. They'll be just on their phones waiting for this because I believe that they'll be hoping something's changed. I actually don't have the faith that it is going to change because he seems to stick to Webby tends to stick to what he wants, what he likes. But I think a lot of people will be there glued to their phones, anticipating something's going to change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the poor social media manager for the Warriors. It's
yeah.
6:02 tomorrow, and you know, everyone's just saying like,
And you're
"Oh,
copying it.
Webby's lost it," and then the Warriors will probably come out and win by 20. So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, let's hope that happens. But I'm going to put you on the spot one more time, mate. I'm going to put you on the
Welcome,
spot
mate. I
one more
love
time.
that.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the hard questions, mate. And this is just a simple one, but it's an easy one. Is Richard concerned about the Warriors' form going into the next few rounds before the finals?
Oh,
Are
yeah,
you concerned?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I could take the Knights game because I think we sort of did well enough to play us into the game. But
yeah,
when you're playing against the two worst teams in the comp consecutively, and that should be 4 points that we've sort of ticked off the list easily, and we haven't. We did sort of, I think I talked about last week. We did have a similar sort of slump in 2023. About this point when there was about 6 or 7 games left in the season, had a couple of close games which we sort of led away. So maybe it's something to do with that. Um, but I'm a little bit concerned,
yeah,
especially with the Dolphins coming up. If we lose now, Penrith's going to be probably 1 point behind us. They're like, fortunately, yeah, like the Broncos lost, so the Eagles did us a massive one there. Just would have been good to, would have been great to get that win and just, extend
Yeah,
that buffer to 6 points. But now, yeah, potentially if we lose this weekend and the Panthers win, Panthers will be within a point of us, so
yeah,
we'll likely be losing that top four spot. Obviously, the Storm have lost Jerome Hughes, so they might not win as many games as we were expecting, but I imagine they'll keep their spot.
yeah,
I was asking questions about the Bulldogs last couple of weeks, but they played pretty well yesterday, beat Manly by like 40 points,
yeah,
and also the Raiders. That was 18-0 at half time against the Knights, and they ended up winning like 44-18 or something like that. So, um,
mm,
yeah, the other top four teams who have been kind of like not looking great, they
yeah,
all got wins. The Storm game was a great game as well, and then yeah, like the fact that Manly and sorry, the Raiders and the Bulldogs are going in this direction. We're
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
going the opposite. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm quite concerned. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 and too right because I'm with you on that one. It's very concerning when we're playing. I know that people talk about the NRL being like not no game is an easy game, which is fair enough because a lot of teams are turning up. But you expect the top 14 to be putting away games against the likes of the Knights and the Titans, who at the time when we played them were sitting last on the ladder, who were sitting in last place, and yeah, like I said before, like I said earlier, don't want to take away from their performance because they played really well in that game. Des Hasler, their coach, for example, he's on the brink of being sacked. He's on the brink of being sacked as well. So that's how bad they've gone all year. But yeah, they decided to just pull one out of the bag against us. That's when they decided to turn up. So it's just unlucky for us. But yeah, I'm concerned as well because, like you said, we missed a golden opportunity to take out that buffer to 6 points over the Broncos, and it would have been 5 points. Would have been 5 points against the Panthers, and we need that because I think that if we're going to do something in the finals, we need to get in the top four because we need that extra life. Because we need that extra life because if we lose, for example, one game in the finals in the top four, we get an extra life about it. And I just think that they maybe that if we lost, this is all hypothetical, they still have a chance to just to pump themselves up and say, no, we can do this, we can do this. But if we fall outside the top eight, it's sorry, if we fall outside the top four, sorry, yeah, it might be a very harder equation for us, a
Yeah.
harder journey for us, So the thing is, what the funny thing is about the top four, bro, is that if we end up being fourth and we play the Raiders and who are first, just say that's hypothetically we play that side, I would rather play the Raiders rather than the Bulldogs and the Storm. In the top four. I mean, if if you had to choose any team in the top four, you could play first. Who would be the team you play? For me, it would be the Raiders.
Oh, Bulldogs. Bulldogs,
Bulldogs.
absolutely.
Oh, okay, fair
Raiders have
enough.
won 11 in a row, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
but I feel more comfortable. I know we've lost
or
twice to them
nine
already,
maybe,
but
or something like that. They're
yeah,
flying.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
they're scoring points at ease, and like the way that we're playing, we've lost them twice this season already. The way that we're
yeah,
playing, we're just I don't think it would be a good matchup for us. I think Bulldogs would be good. Storm, obviously, like we've got a terrible record against them, but no
yeah,
Hughes might work in our favour. But I mean, I imagine we're going to be going into that game as from fourth, just being like, okay, look, let's just not get any injuries this week, and then we'll be back
yeah,
home in Mount Smart next week, and
yeah,
we can take down Broncos or Panthers.
yeah,
Hopefully not the Panthers.
yeah. That's the team I don't want to play. It's actually the team
Yeah,
I don't want to play. Like actually, especially the way
yeah,
they're going at the moment, right?
yeah.
All right, look. Before we go into the Wally M's, I think the Wally M's will be a really quick thing for us, considering there's not really, we're limited on players to choose from in terms of who put on a good stellar performance over the weekend. I thought we'd go. This game stirred up a lot of people, a lot of fans, as you know, across social media, not just on our platforms but on other platforms as well. So I just thought we'd go into some of the comments and read some of them out and just see what everyone's saying. And also they've got a couple of questions for us as well. So let me read one first, and then you go to the next one. You got one, got something there in front of you, some comments in front of you.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, right. So this one here is from Keegan Crothers. Thanks for your question. Thanks for your question, Keegan. How do the boys get out of the slump? That's the first question he's brought up.
Yeah, change the team, but make a few changes.
Yeah,
Nothing. I mean, I don't want anything too radical, but yeah, I think just we've seen the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, especially that sort of right edge defence hasn't been good. So whether that's Dallin going, whether it's just bringing in the new centre and putting Kate Powell back into the second row, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Stay off social media as well, probably, because that's not going to be helping their mental health at the moment. Just seeing some of the bloody, the comments that get thrown around, and just do what they've been, back to the basics, do what they were doing. Obviously, with Tanner Boyd coming in, he had a great sort of first game, and then it's been not as smooth sailing since. I thought he wasn't bad. He had a hand in sort of both those tries on the weekend. Him and Harris Davidas, they did have a nice little sort of passing relationship earlier on that game. He still kicks for about 450 odd meters. So just back to the basics. Kick that ball deep, get the chase up, get everyone on the same page, and hopefully have obviously Egan going out on the weekend doesn't help. So if everyone stays fit, that's going to help them as well. But I think there probably just does need to be a change or two made in the team. Where that is, it's not my job to say, but I obviously give my opinion.
No, fair enough. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm with you on that one. I would say to get out of this form slump, I would say that you'd have to make some changes. And when I say changes, I don't mean man for man. I mean like maybe putting someone in positional changes, not just changes to for example, Dallin going to reserve grade and bringing someone up, or I would say like positional changes where for example Chance comes out of fullback and goes into centre, where Tuapiki goes into full. I think and Webster has to do this, because I don't think that with the team and where they're positioned right now and then the way they're going to do much damage going forward unless they just make some. They're going to make some. I know you said nothing radical, but then they need to make some changes where it's like take a risk, if you get what I mean. They need to take a risk, and not just risk on the changes, but I think they need to take some risk on the field as well. Do something different. Because the Warriors have always been known for a team where they play on momentum. Now, you can say that all teams play on momentum, but they're a team though. When something's not going right in the past, the attitudes just go down. You see the body language go down and stuff, and things just the scores get blown up. But I think they should just try something different. Little chips over the top and stuff. I just think they should just try something different. Keep keep the other teams guessing. Just do some radical things on the field as well. I just reckon they need to change it up and just go out flying and doing things like that. So that's my opinion. But so thanks, Keegan.
I don't think it's going to happen in an Andrew Webster coach team, bro.
No, I don't think so either. But I think they, how like for example, when teams try to do a lot of things in the last 10 minutes of the game where they're desperate to get a try because they needed one try to something not along those that intensely desperate, but where they're actually throwing the ball around a bit more just to try something, just like that's what I mean by that. But yeah, so again, Keegan Crothers asks this question. There was another question. There was another question from our post that we mentioned about any questions. Rizzy Michael.
Who's that guy?
I heard he's a bit of a chump. This guy. This guy's a bit of a chump. Rizzy Michael. Who's John going to war with this week? Okay. Well, again, I don't war with the players or coaches and stuff because I love them all. I just like to dish out constructive criticism. That's what I'm saying. Healthy criticism, which I think is fair. But just to answer the question, Andrew Webster. If he doesn't make changes, I'm going with Andrew Webster. I'm going to war with Andrew Webster. So that's my answer to the chump, Rizzy Michael.
It's the next fight for life, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm not a celebrity.
John
I don't want to be celebrities. Yeah, exactly. So
disrespect to Tane Tuapiki.
Yes, exactly. Good call. Right, mate. You got some comments there from some of the people who've made comments over the weekend as well.
Just I had a good one from my old mate Tony Newen. He guy I went to school with. He's a great guy, Tony. So if you're listening, hope you're well, mate. His response to the game was shit is the word that comes to mind. Alalatoa needs to return to centre. Specialists in hard runner with the ball. Capewell back to back row. Tane Tuapiki goes to fullback or wing. Really concerning with no genuine number 9 if Egan can't play 80 minutes. So, yeah, sort of he's preaching some of the stuff that we've been talking on the podcast. So, the Egan thing's interesting. It's sort of, we definitely kind of lost a bit of direction there on the weekend when he went off and sort of Harris Davidas sort of came in there and Tamari Martin was playing 6 of the game. So, But yeah, cheers, Tony. It's good to see your name there, and good to see you getting involved in the conversation.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Good, good. Another comment. So we got quite a few comments over the weekend on our channels. So obviously we can't read them all out because there's too many. But here's another one from Stephanie Andrew. Stephanie Andrew here says, "Do you think we're also unable to win at home all of a sudden?" She's got two parts to this comment. This one's a question, so I want to ask you the question first. Do you think we're also unable to win at home all of a sudden?
Not unable because we beat the Tigers last a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hasn't been great this year, has it? You know,
No.
we had the Panthers game, we had the Titans game, we had the Raiders game. I think maybe the Storm game's our only actual loss away from home. No, that can't be right, can it? Broncos as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so we must have lost, four games there though this year, which is yeah, very concerning. For a team that Matt Smith has sort of been known as the fortress, and it's supposed to be sort of one of the hardest sort of road trip to make. In a season where we're coming fourth and we've been playing some pretty good footy,
Yeah.
it's surprising, especially with all the home crowds. So yeah, hopefully they can reverse that. We've got the Dolphins this weekend who are 0-2 at Mount Smart, so long may that 100% loss rate continue.
Yeah. Fair enough. The other comment she made was, "I don't understand the sense of not having to picky on after how many times he saved our asses the last few games." Fair comment. Good comment from Stephen. I actually responded to this comment saying, "Yeah, I've been saying this for a while now. I love Webby, but his selections can be mind scratching at times." That was my response to Stephanie, who's actually my cousin, so I actually know her really well. So I actually was agreeing with her comment. I wrote here that it's obvious he's picking on name or reputation, whatever you want to call it, but not form. Because if it was form, Tuapiki would still be there. So, yeah, fair comment from Stephanie. And she had a lot of people like her comment as well and respond to it. So a lot of people are agreeing with her as well. So, yeah, good comment there. You got the next comment, mate?
Yeah, that's Risky Michael guys back. He say some big kills to be made. We looked flat in attack. Not sure if Chance was 100% as he was his dominant self. Very concerning how poor we've been in the fortress. 6 likes for that comment. So there's some wise people out some wise people out there. But
Only
no,
six,
I had a
yeah.
comment from Matt Maynard. Complacent. Boys aren't having to play for their position so much as injuries now means we're having to roll with the 21st grade players. Agree with comments about DWZ needing a spell, get them hungry. I think we need to learn from the Panthers and actually rotate some of the players and rest them ahead of the finals. I know it will piss fans off if we get results like this, but the boys are looking tired and we need them fizzing for the finals. Hope we can hang on to the top four. Yeah, so I think there's some couple of good points to be made there. What are your thoughts on the potentially resting guys with the finals coming up to 6 weeks away?
It's a hard one because, if we had that 6 point buffer, then maybe. But the fact that we don't have that 6 point buffer anymore, it's down to a 3 point buffer now because 4 points over the Broncos, 3 points over the Panthers, and we're playing the Dolphins as well. I wouldn't be resting my best players on this game. Would you be resting players against the Dolphins?
Not for this game. Nah,
Yeah, not for this
wanna,
game. That's what I mean. Not
yeah,
for this game. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
but I
it'll be
mean,
interesting to see in the next couple of weeks because there's some tired looking bodies out there. That's for sure.
yeah,
And I suppose the problem is just even though we've got pretty good depth in the squad, injuries are sort of disallowing that. To have, as Matt sort of pointed out, often we're picking from 21 players of the,
yeah,
30, the squad of
yeah,
30. So, yeah,
yeah.
we'll see
Exactly.
in a few weeks.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got one more comment and then we'll leave it at that because, like I said, there's so many that I can't read them all out. But this was from Clive Turner, and I actually liked this one. I thought it was a really good summary. But so he wrote here, DWZ jamming in again. However, how much is that due to the inside man being too far in, etc.? Which is fair, as we discussed before. Pissed me off when he jammed in and then they went around the outside, but I can't blame the loss solely on his performance. Fair call. That we were saying before, you can't blame it fully on Dallin. That's a good call. Average across the board. Frustrating as hell and doesn't give me a lot of confidence come finals time. I don't want them to be one and done. Bring back Tuapiki and do some other positional changes to fit him in. pretty much that summarizes what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It's not. I mean, Dallin, yes, he's in a form slump. He hasn't been playing well, and he needs a spot on. He needs a spot of reserve, like a little time in reserve grade. But you can't fully blame it all on him. You can't fully blame it on him. Also, Tuapiki, make some positional changes to bring him in somewhere, and frustration, and also not a lot of confidence come finals time. So that's a really good summary from Clive Turner. So Clive, thanks for your comment there. It's a really good summary, and I actually mentioned that good summary. But look, we're getting away with time here, talking about this game. So we're going to quickly go into the Wallians, mate. Your segment.
Yep, sure thing.
Yep.
Give our 3-2-1 points for the Warriors players on the weekend. As you said before, not a heap of sort of excitement to be found from this game, but
Yeah.
I've found a couple of players who, I don't know, more on stats. I just kind of looked for
Yeah.
the stats and picked it on that. So I'll
Yeah.
start us off. I've got RTS for 3 points, 276 run meters, 90 post contacts, had a line break, scored a try, had another close try where he had the ball sort of knocked out of his hands, diving over the line by AJ Brimson. So I thought he played pretty well, diffused 4 kicks as well. There were the bombs putting up to his corner, so he was actually pretty safe under the high ball. Did have a pretty shocking drop in the middle of the field with no pressure on him at all, but yeah, basically no one had a perfect game, so he got my 3. My 2 went to Fisher Harris, 151 metres, 62 post contact, 46 tackles, no penalties or errors. So yeah, as I said before, sort of leading from the front, and just quietly, putting up some really good numbers at the moment. And your boy Jackson Ford gets my 1, 128 metres, 54 post contact, game high 54 tackles. So obviously had a few errors and all that, but
Yeah.
you can't question his commitment to the team.
Fair enough. Nice, mate. Yeah. Okay, I'll just run through mine quickly because, like I said, I found this very difficult, and you just have to look, like you said, look on stats. James Fisher Harris gets my 3. Just because, I think it wasn't like he did anything spectacular or anything, but he just did what he needed to do. He did his job and stuff, but just would have been great if the others around him were doing similar. I had Valmunga for 2 points. I just thought, he was just, every week he just comes on, does his job as well. I don't have stats on Valmunga at the moment, but I just love the energy he brings in his defense and attack. I honestly, every time he comes on, that's the one thing I notice every time, and that's why I was wondering, could he start? But at the same time, coming off the bench and we got some tight bodies in the opposition, it's just a perfect time for him to come on. So it's more of a strategic thing more than anything. And I had 1 point for RTS. I just thought he had a pretty solid game as well. He's actually having quite a good run of form lately. RTS tries, meters, everything. So he's doing really well in the air as well. His catching game in the moment. So yeah, he got my 1 point. Yeah.
That's bro.
Look, because we spoke so much in this so far already, I had in the run sheet that we would talk about the Dolphins preview, but we've actually talked a lot about that in terms of what changes we would make and stuff. So we'll just spend a couple of minutes on this. But what are you expecting from this game against the Dolphins? Because in terms of the Warriors and stuff, and you think we're up for it? Can we be up for this game after everything you've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's hardly filling me with confidence, just with how we've been playing and with how the Dolphins have been playing. They're currently sitting 8th. They absolutely tore apart. Would they have a bye on the weekend?
Dolphins?
Yeah.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah. And then before that, they've been, they tore apart the Cowboys 2 weeks ago, put 40 points on them, put 50 points on the Dragons, 50 points on someone else.
Yeah.
So, they've scored 40 plus points in 3 of the last 5 games. So, I'm a little bit worried that if we can't sort of slow them down. The one sort of positive is that they've had a win, loss, win, loss, win. They're that sort of team. So the last game they won. So I'm hoping we've got them on a loss week. So hopefully we can kind of capitalise on that. But as I mentioned before, they've got some they've got some amazing players there.
Yeah.
They've got Herbie Farnworth playing. He's probably most informed centre in the game. Jake Averillo's playing some amazing footy. Obviously got Jermaine Osako on the wing. They've got Isaiah Katoa, who's the next Nathan Cleary, they reckon.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's plenty of danger in that team. I think defensively we just need to really really tighten up those edges and just stop letting such easy sort of line breaks through. But yeah, I mean, I imagine that they'll be trading hard this week. They're back at Mount Smart. They'll know that the Warriors will know that this is an important game. Last week was an important game, but because they lost that one, the importance of this has gone up even more. We don't have a great record against top 8 teams this year, so this is our chance to sort of get one back.
yeah,
And although our form hasn't filled me with confidence, I'm keeping the faith, and I believe the
yeah.
boys can do it. Yeah, as I said before, the Dolphins are 0-2 at Mount Smart. The Wars won the head-to-head 3-2 on the whole, and yeah, let's go the Wars.
Fair enough. I mean, the Dolphins got a lot to play for, don't they? They're sitting on 8th position now on 24 points, so
Yeah.
they'll be looking to try and get some security in terms of where they land in the top 8. I actually would have preferred if we would play at Suncorp. We've actually done pretty well at Suncorp, previously. That's where we would have played if they were playing the Dolphins there. But, Friday night game, 8 p.m. It's a late game. I'm with you, bro. I think the Warriors can pull something out of the bag. They're going to have to. They got no choice. They've got no choice because lose this game, then everything's on the line. The next game, you drop another game, then, we're probably out of the top 4 because I don't see Penrith losing any more games this season. And, the Broncos are just right behind them as well. And so are the Sharks. The Sharks are on 26 points as well. And we're on 30. So, we've even though we're in the top 4, we have got a lot to play for here. We've got a lot to play for because, people can say, oh, we're still going to stay in the top 8. But I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the fact that the reward that you get for being in the top 4 is that you get a life. And that's what you've got to play for. So we've got a lot to play for. So they've got to go out there and be desperate and, and play like everything's on the line. That's how I see it at the moment, especially the way they're playing with their form slump as well. So yeah, that's the way I see it, bro. But yeah, look, as you just said, we got the faith. Let's support the boys because believing that they can do it,
Yeah.
So look, we haven't got much time left. So I just wanted to ask you one quick question, and then we'll wrap it up with tips. Obviously, the area that we've had trouble with is obviously outside backs in terms of injuries, etc. If you could pick one outside back in the NRL, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter who they're contracted to for how many years. If you could just say that you could pick one player to come in as an outside back into the Warriors team, who would you pick out of all the NRL? Just for a bit of fun. Just asking you a personal question.
Well, I hadn't done it, so I was like, I'll ask ChatGPT, but ChatGPT was no good because they said Dylan Lesniak, Morgan Harbour, Moala Grab-Twelfer, or Jake Garrick. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're on the piss, If not playing in the NRL at the moment, but I wouldn't mind to see Joey Manu, if he makes his way back to league. There's been a bit of talk about that. There was some April Fool's Day hijinks from myself. Had a bit of fun with that.
Yeah.
But playing NRL at the moment, he actually plays for the Dolphins. He'll be fun with. He
Nice.
is a exceptional player. Just so strong with ball in hand. Got such good ball skills. And yeah, I feel like we haven't had a good centre for like a world class centre for a long time. It's something we've been lacking. So yeah, he was who I'd go with. I'd probably keep him obviously at centre, and then you'd be able to move some other guys around to sort of find another centre and a couple of wings.
I like that. I actually like that a lot. Yeah, that's actually a really good answer. I might just copy you. That's actually a really good answer.
Who'd you have though?
Well, because honestly, I actually didn't think about it. I'm the one that asked the question, and I actually didn't think about this properly because I just keep thinking, Richard, Wish I had Storm because of he's I think he's a brilliant player, and I think he's got that utility sort of ability about him. But that doesn't really solve our outside
He's
backs
not.
problem,
I
does
say
it?
yeah. He's
Yeah,
not
but
an
that's
outside
what I was
back,
about to
bro.
say. That's why I said I asked the question, but I'm actually just like, wait a minute, I've just done myself bad on my own question, so that's why I'm saying I'm going to just copy your answer because actually, I think I'm actually a big fan of Happy Farnworth, and I think he's a great player. Seems to continuously break the line, and seems to do it with ease as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I'm just going to copy you, mate. I think that's just a good answer that you made. So
There you go.
we'll leave it at that. Well, mate, do you
I'd
want?
love to see Richard playing on the wing this weekend
Yeah,
for the Storm.
yeah. Well, that's what to say. I've just done because he's not a centre. So what have I done? But anyway, we'll leave it at that, mate. Well, look, we'll go into tips. Do you want to lead us into tips, and then we'll finish off from there?
Yeah, mate. Just a real quick head-to-head. Well,
Yeah.
8 games this weekend. Eels and
Yep.
Storm on Thursday night, kicking us off. Can the Eels repeat their heroics of last weekend against the Jerome Hughes-less Storms?
Yes. Big call, I know, but yeah,
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 I will go the Storm, but potentially Pappenhausen was out last week. I think Munster will be back, but
yeah.
yeah, Eels look good with Moses back, that's for sure.
And Brown,
And Brown, yeah. Obviously Wales versus Dolphins next, so we're both going the Wales, are we?
of course.
Always.
Yep, as always.
Broncos Rabbits next. Rabbits can't catch a break.
Yeah, no, I'll
And the
go
Broncos will
Broncos
be
just because I
hurting.
just think they're going to win, and I don't want them to win. Obviously, I want that buffer. I want the Rabbits to do a Parramatta and do us a good one, do us a favour. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I've backed the Rabbits like 5 games in a row, and they haven't won any of those 5 games. So
yeah,
I'll go jump ship and go on the Broncos and
right.
hope that means that they'll win.
Yeah, fair enough.
Titans Panthers yet? Titans can they repeat their heroics
Nah.
against Titans Panthers?
Yeah,
You on the Titans, are you?
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't think anyone's going to beat the Panthers in terms
Yeah,
of the round robins in their matches. So yeah, in terms of the round robins, I mean, yeah.
it's looking dangerous. Dragons Raiders, my beloved Raiders, who keep just
Yeah,
finding ways to win.
somehow they're doing it. They're not playing. I mean, I haven't watched all their games, but it doesn't look like they're playing flashy footy. They're just doing the basics right and getting everything done. They're just doing everything right. So they're doing well. They're doing good on them. Good on them.
Well balanced team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragons are. No, I'll go the Dragons that one actually.
All right.
I think the Raiders are due a loss, and the Dragons have kind of been pretty unlucky last sort of 3 or 4 weeks. So, Seagulls Roosters next. This is a big game for finals repercussions. I think the Roosters basically need to win if they want to sort of make any charge for the 8, and the Seagulls will be hurting from their big loss. They're currently sitting 9th for the same amount of points as the Dolphins.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna go the Roosters.
I'll go Seagulls.
Tigers, Doggies, upset on the cards.
I think we're both going to go doggies because yeah.
Speak for yourself. I'm going to go Tigers.
No, far out. How dare you?
Oh, the Dolphins are good. The Dogs are good in
No.
the weekend, but they've been
Actually,
far
don't
from
care.
far from
Actually, don't
convincing.
care. Tigers, who
And
cares?
Sharks, Cowboys to finish it off. The Sharks are now sitting 7th, so they're. I had them not making the 8, but it's looking like they probably will. Can the Cowboys pull off an upset?
Yeah, I'll go Cowboys.
I'll stick with the Sharks. And that's it for round 22
All right.
of the
well,
NRL.
we're out of time, guys. But thanks for tuning in. Obviously, this round has been a big one with a lot of questions to be asked, a lot of questions to be answered. Sorry, fans everywhere asking a lot of questions about selection, about players' forms, etc. So I guess tomorrow night's going to be the big one, Richard, at 6 p.m. See what happens.
Yeah, I'll try to send a wee little video through for my reaction if you wanna hear that.
Yeah, it's awesome. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're on TikTok as well, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. We try to comment. We try to respond to all the comments. But yeah, thanks everyone, and have a good night. And up the waz.
The Waz baby, choo choo.
Let's go to the end!